graduate trainees, right? The things you need to know, right? And just a little bit of background. The reason why I am doing this is because when I left school, obviously, I encountered some blockers about graduate training. In fact, I didn't know it immediately I was finishing school, right? And so when I got the opportunity or when I saw the offer, I was like, how many other people are sleeping on this opportunity? Of course, we know that the Nigerian terrain, economic wise, is not so good, right? And just to do what I can do as a support or contribution to the community, I was like, okay, I'm just going to start making videos for people. It started with making videos. Please, you guys can switch off your videos because of network. It can affect general. I think so. So I started making videos, and that was why the first video we made was flour mills, and then we saw that those who were in flour mills um, application process at the time it was very good for them. It was very, very good for them. And then we just thought, okay, see, let's just continue doing this. And we are here now. About 60 of us are here, and I hope that I know that more people are going to definitely join this. But the point is, this would actually be an opening for some of you where the things you've been doing wrong, the things that you thought you already had it figured out, but you are not doing the right things, the different processes of the graduate training application process, what it entails, what they need to hear from you. Why are they even doing that in the first place, right? And everything will just be everything will be made bare. So if you've been in the group for a while, right, you would know that there was a time where we sent out a form, right? The form had about 300 responses. And the major reason why we sent out the form was to do something like this. And in doing something like this, we didn't want to do it out of a vacuum. We wanted to know the problems that you guys are facing, right? We wanted to know what was the hardest part. And so the data came in. I'm a data engineer, so I've done data analysis, I've done all of these things, right, before. Right? So I kind of I kind of understand how all of this goes, right? So I analyze the data. We analyze the data with my help and with the team's help. We analyze the data. Paul, Wale, all of them, very wonderful guys. We analyze the data, and the data has formed the backbone of today's webinar. So I am a man that is driven by data, finances, data, everything. Just get data, and then you can know where the problem is. And then when you know where the problem is, you can solve it, right? You can solve it. So as the data too says that Arsenal should be winning the league this season. Nobody, if you write anything against Arsenal, we would kick you off this call, right? In case you don't know, Paul is also an Arsenal fan. So if I'm an Arsenal fan and Paul is an Arsenal fan, and then you want to write something else against us now, just know that you don't have a place in this webinar today, right? So the best you can do is just to pray that Arsenal wins the league, so I can continue to do this very well in good faith. Nobody should write anything in the comment section. So that's on a lighter note, right? So let's get back to it. So the GT roadmap, the graduate training roadmap. The data was gotten from 308 of you guys, about 308, and then it told us where the issues lie. We will talk about CVs, we'll talk about all of those things that I know that you guys want to hear, but let's start from the basics, right? So these are purely data from that form. And this is the reason why we always beg you guys to fill all of these forms. It is important that you do, because when you do, we can be able to ascertain where the issues are. But I mean, at that time, we're still relatively few. We didn't have the second community then. So 52.9% complained that interview is the worst phase for them. That's more than half of the applicants, right? Using this as a sample, right? 42% says that once they want to write assessment tests, it's a problem for them, right? And I've tried to, one way or the other, on my X or Twitter, I've tried to write threads about how you can get this fixed, the things you can do, and all of those things, right? If you look towards the down part of the screen, you would see my X username there. You can punch follow. as per that YouTube, all of you will still follow that YouTube, but let's even pause that for now. That's not why we are here. But for X, you can just go there, Feromi_Babs. You can just click follow and check out the threads, right? Check out the threads. I've written a lot of threads. So 42% said that assessment test is a problem. I've written something concerning assessment test, but 42% said it's a problem. Then 62% says that they don't even understand why companies put out graduate trainee roles, right? Imagine you're applying to a job and you don't even know why the company needs you. You've most likely failed from the start, right? You've most likely failed from the start, right? So then these numbers are actually from people amongst us. So, and it's the target data that we are using to pull out our insight. Now, there are 5 main walls between you and the offer you want, which is the graduate trainee offer, right? There are like 5 main walls of that. The first one is your CV, right? 13.6% are the guys that complained about this. Then the next one is assessment test. 42% complained about this. Assessment center, about 9% complained about this. Interviews, about 17%. Then those that complain that they've done all of these things and then the firm doesn't get back to them. You know the reason why this one is in thick yellow? The reason why it's in thick yellow is because I don't think I can even really help on that, right? I don't think I can really help on that. And but for CV, for assessment tests, for center for interviews, that's why we are here. And I think that if you consistently do things correctly when it comes to your CV, when it comes to your assessment test, when it comes to your assessment center, when it comes to your interviews, I think we'll be very fine, right? And you would have multiple opportunities that even waiting for a reply wouldn't be your problem. Of course, waiting is usually the most agonizing part, because I remembered when I was waiting for my own too, it was an insane journey, right? But I'm saying that when you put your feet all out in the different aspect of the processes, I think you would be much better off. You'll be much better off, right? So now I want us to like finish the formal presentation. Then if anybody is interested, like we did the last time, we're going to use someone's CV as a guinea pig, right? If you guys can talk to Paul or talk to Wally or something. So we can use one person's CV as a guinea pig. And I know some people have mentioned this to me in the last class. If I still remember any of their names, I think I want to prioritize them. But you guys can just let Paul know, right? The first major issue we usually have is that you have a problem with the CV, because most of the time they tell you to send CVs, right? Or most of the time they tell you to write assessment, or they tell you to fill up some things first. But for the record, let's just start with CV, right? In the data, 34% says that they never get called back after submitting CV, right? And 27% says that the CV isn't getting them shortlisted. So the problem is with the CV at this stage. If you're not getting called back after you submit your CV, if you're not getting called back after everything they needed from you is your CV, then there is a problem. Now, the first way to even deal with that, first of all, is through something called the applicant tracking system, ATS. For every role, and I want you to listen to this very, very carefully, right? For every role, right, there are requirements, right? Requirements are the things that are expected of the prospective applicant to be able to do or to have, right? That's it, right? And the point here is actually that when there are requirements, they do not want people that cannot fulfill the requirements. Maybe this doesn't have to do so much with what do they call it? It doesn't have to do so much with, what's the English now? With graduate training as much, because you first of all fill your details, but it's important you know this for every other thing you might be applying to, which is not graduate training. So there is a requirement, and every time you're building your CV for an opportunity, one thing you need to know is that your CV must match the requirement and the job description of the role you're applying for. This is for either experienced or not experienced people, right? It must beat it. And If it doesn't beat it, you're not even going to get past the applicant tracking system. So what the applicant tracking system we want to look at is, okay, they've programmed the applicant tracking system to look out for what they want. What they want is in the requirement. So it's just that you reward what you have in your CV to what they have in the requirement. And it's very, very important. Your CV is rejected by the algorithm. The way to the algorithm is to tell them that you can do what they want you to be able to do. So that's actually very important. Many people know that they need to match their CVs with their requirements. It is very, very, very important. That's first thing. Then the second thing is actually that quantification works a lot. Quantification works a lot. And when I say quantification works a lot, it is that when you can quantify one or two things that you've done. Now, graduate training folks are expected to have done a lot of things, right? And please, can you tell the chat box you're still hearing me very clearly? Do I care for both water? Is this Abdullah? Just checking my chat now. I'm seeing that people are still arguing me on top, and when I'm actually the one that can pull you out of. But I just want to know if you guys are hearing very clearly in the chat box, because it seems so. You have to, as much as they do graduates to know. So it is, you are putting your best foot forward when you quantify, when you put numbers, right? And an example I gave here was to say you led a 6% team agreement attendance by 40%. That's just an example. You do not have to have led people. When you're resuming as a graduate at the lowest, it's just an example. If you've done this, you've done spending this amount of money, something like that, or if you're in tax, something like that. Right? Then the third thing is your my network is lagging. I think I know the problem. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Okay, guys, you have to give me 1 sec. Yeah, I'll have to give me 1 sec. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, this is better.
Okay, yeah. I knew. Okay, that works then, but you wouldn't be able to see my video again. So, I'm saying that at the next point that we were touching base with was the fact that now you can't use one CV for all sectors, right? That wouldn't fly. So if you're saying you are applying to oil and gas, you can't use the CV you used to apply to Stanbic Bank to apply to NNPC or NLNG. It's not going to fly, right? Because what they need is actually different. Again, um everything boils down to what do they call it? Everything boils down to requirements, the job requirement, right? So you want to take that very, very serious, very, very serious. And so that's the thing for CV, but we'll still do some kind of what do I call it now? Some kind of guinea pig stuff where we go over someone's CV together, right? I think that's much more very practical concerning things like CV. So the next thing really is the assessment test. Now, you see, but this assessment testing, I really cannot help so much. Like I've always said this, I really cannot help so much. And even if I can help, it is to point you to um it is to point you to resources that can actually help you. And I think I wrote a tweet on my Twitter page. I wrote a post on my Twitter page, and I was pointing people to that tweet. I think when PwC released their stuff, someone tagged me, and I pulled up the quotes for that. Let me try to see if I can find it.
Yes, it's back up.
Okay, good, 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 good. 1 second. Just want to search SHL on my account, and then I just post the link here or into the chat. Except I think Paul, just help me note it down. This is one thing we can check later. Around when I would have like a short break where I show people the YouTube and the channel. So I think just help me note it down to bring it in. I don't think we have more time for that. So the assessment test is this, right? First things first, you have to even get yourself familiarized with the assessment test, with the kind of test you're going to be doing, right? You have to do that.
And here I just try to I try to give an example of some of the tests that each of these firms actually they write, or that is being statutory for them. So for Deloitte, they use Dragnet. I heard Chapel Hill use Dragnet and some others like that. For NLNG, PwC, Shell, some they use SHL, GMAT, KPMG, Wema Bank, and all of that. Now, the reason why you even have to know this beforehand is actually that you want to even know which test is going to be used. When you know the test that is going to be used, right? When you know the test that is going to be used, then you can practice for that test down. So if you know that Dragnet is the person that, or is the firm that will be used for Deloitte, you should start practicing Dragnet when you know that your Deloitte exam is coming. Same with PwC. Those that have passed the cornerstone assessment, I don't know if they've gotten back to you guys, but you know that the next level is SHL. Have you started practicing SHL? Right. When I drop the tweet, I think there are some YouTube links that are very important that I think one can learn all these things from. And also, I think I drop all these things on our WhatsApp channel, to be honest. If you just follow those things, I don't think your problem will be as much. There, I think there's a guy that had a guy had three of us. He was interviewing with BAT, British American Tobacco. I don't want to say something about BAT on air. He was interviewing with them. I think he got into Dangote Refinery. I think they're still waiting for the whole final thing. I think he got into one Sahara group too, right? And one thing that has helped the guy so far, and I even still have it in my chats. I just don't have a lot of time to share all of these chats. He said every single thread I try to put up, he reads everything. And the truth is, this guy reads everything and tries to ask questions. Right, the guy is a very active engager of the tweet. Ask questions, and then we do this. I explain this. I explain that. I think that while it is not entirely dependent on the Twitter, right? I think those tweets are very, very helpful. Or while it is not entirely dependent on the YouTube videos, I think they are very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. Rhoda Olabisi is actually a legend in the game. Very wonderful lady. I think before I got to KPMG, I was always sleeping on Rhoda Olabisi's page. Right. She did one video, a day in the life of KPMG person, KPMG's this, KPMG's that. I watched every single thing. And I think I watched all of those things more than 5 times each, if not going to 10 times each, to be very honest with you. Right. I do not care how far or how much or how long. I do not care because again, you get 1 year here and everything actually, that's everything you've been finding. If you apply to 24 and you get 24 offers, you can only say yes to one. So why don't you just pursue the one, pursue everything like you get the one, right? And so when you read these resources, it really does help. It really, really does help. Now, the first fix about this thing, I can explain these fixes, but the major thing is practice, right? That's the thing for assessment test. I can't write assessment test for you. It's not like I know math up to many of you guys. Many of you guys will probably know many of these things more than me. It's been a while I left undergrad, right? It's been a while I finished my master's, right? So you guys even still know it more than me. And I understand that. I think there was a question in my DM one time where the guy was saying that, the thing is, how would he cope with with being fast? Because he knows it, but the time limit is very small. And this is it. You do not you see one mindset I have or I had towards this. I still have it. It's just that I don't write assessments again. Is that if I struggle with this thing, honestly, 80% of us is going to struggle with it. Right. And it's not that I was a first class student or something. It's that this thing is math, is basic math for everybody. Right. And if one person finds it difficult, the other 95% are not just going to find it easier too. Right. They're still going to struggle with it. So the first things first is that all of us were in the same boat, right? The people that will struggle with it. People that will probably do it well will do it well. But we're all on the same boat to say that there's a level of difficulty that comes with this thing. That's the first thing. So it's not like you are the only one struggling with this. You need to accept that you're not the only one struggling with this. The second thing about that is actually that you don't need to get all your answers correctly. You don't need to get all your answers correctly. And so when it comes to the game of speed or when they are timing you, once you see that you do not know or understand what's going on, either you pick something or you move on to the next stage. You have to make up your time, because the more you can attempt, the higher your probability, right? The higher your probability. And so to increase that probability, you have to be able to do as much as possible. As much as possible doesn't really work for you if you sit on one question for 5 minutes and you have 15 minutes to solve 50 questions. No. You have to be able to think on your feet and say, okay, I'm going to the next one, going to the next one, going to the next one, right? And see, you're probably not going to get called back many times. But see, it's good. Everybody that has done this graduate training, everybody that I've interviewed, yes, that's a very good sample size because it's a very good experience. Everybody that I've interviewed were going all in at some point, like apply to 5, apply to 10, apply to 50. So out of that 50, you might only get final level interviews for like 3. You must have written like 47 tests that you probably didn't pass. Right. And the point is not to get all the 50. The point is that you even want to get your feet into the one, and then you can start building whatever you want to build from there. You get it anywhere as investment banker, get it there as a tech person, get it there, consultants, get it there, oil and gas professional, just get your leg in first. So yeah, that's just the idea with tests. That's the idea with tests. As much as I can help you with interviews, for tests, it's quite tedious and difficult. So the first thing I would usually advise is pattern recognition. It beats raw IQ, right? If you drill yourself daily for 2 weeks before your test date, your consistency will pay off, right? I'm not saying that you should drill yourself every day you are sitting in front of SHL, or every day you're sitting in front of which English am I going to? You're sitting in front of GMAT, you're sitting in front of GRE. No, 20 minutes every day. I believe so much in consistency. You wake up, you do this in 30 minutes. If you have 1 hour, you do it, right? I remembered I had one prodigy, and I try to tell people the truth as much as possible. I told him, see, sit down, you're jobless. That's the truth. I wouldn't sugarcoat it for you. Bro, you're jobless. The reason why you're here is because you want to what did they call it? You want to get a job. That's the reason why you're here. Right? If you do not do the things that you're meant to do, I don't have a job anywhere to do. I can only advise based on the applications you've made. But if you're jobless now, then it means that you have to be doing these things consistently. You should be dedicating your 9 to 5 to looking for things like this. Of course, while doing some other useful things by the side, right? So if I'm the one that I don't have a job, if I know that KPMG is coming, is GMAT, 30 minutes every day, I want to run some GMAT drills. I want to watch YouTube on it, want to read tweets on it, want to do some things that makes me better. Why you might not be able to pass KPMG, you will definitely use that idea or that thing that you've learned to pass another exam. In your case, it might be oil and gas. In your case, it might be investment banking. In your case, it might be anything. But the point is, the more you practice, the more you increase your chances of getting into one of these roles, right? Or I mean, increase your chances of getting into the next stage. The second thing is know your platform. I've explained this one. Then the third one is time management, right? I try to touch this. If you don't know it and the time is, it's not all the time in the world, right? You should just move to the next one. You should move to that. I think during those times when I was writing, I traveled, right? I traveled, and I think it was at the time when I was in my master's. So I applied to Premium Trust Bank. So for Premium Trust Bank, it's just a bunch of forms, right? It's just a bunch of forms, but there are calculations within the forms, right? And so it was meant to be 4 p.m. I was landing in Akure by 3:30-ish, 3:30 p.m.-ish. My house was for those who are Futarians, yeah, you attended Futa. My house was in Southgate, right? No, yeah, no, it wasn't even in Southgate. Okay, this was master's. I was living in school because of electricity. And so I had to go to postgraduate hostel. And I was just landing around 3:30, 3:45 p.m. Right. So I got a Marwa, then I think drove me there. I got to the hostel around, say, some minutes past 4 p.m. And when I opened it, I saw that I wasn't timed. I was very chilled. I solved all the questions one after the other. I was convinced that I was going to get to the next stage. I was very much convinced that I was going to get to the next stage. Then compared to Another one I had written that period. I think that one was timed. I can't remember the stuff again. It was timed, and I was like, I didn't even do very well, right? And then Premium Trust Bank never called me back. You know why they didn't call me back? It is that because it wasn't timed, because there was no pressure, much people will get 100. I mean, because people will use all kinds of things. There is AI, there is calculator here, there is this, there is that, making it even almost impossible for the other person to get inside. But the one that wasn't timed, those ones get back, they got back to me because that one, you don't even have time to do all of this one. So if you're increasing your chances, if you're practicing, you're increasing your chances compared to every other those ones that you should just balance and then you have all the time in the world. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. So I'm saying that it is very important that you do timely drills every day, especially for those of you that maybe you're just finishing NYSC or you're out of NYSC, you're not gainfully employed very much yet. Yeah. And for those that are gainfully employed, 20 minutes in the middle of one or two things, just run it, right? Just do it. Again, the whole point is increase your chances of getting in. The more you do these things, all you want to do is increase your probabilities of getting in. My father doesn't have fame anywhere. Your father probably doesn't have to, because if he has, he wouldn't be on this call, right? Point in case is you want to increase your probabilities and give yourself the best possible chance to fight, the best possible chance to get yourself in front of the interviewers. So these are the things I like want you to do this, right? Please, can you mute, please? Who is there? Please, can the person mute? Can you mute? Sorry. Okay, I think we're good, right? So, yeah. The next one now, I know this is like the biggest one, and I'm going to actually tell you guys. Please, who is there? Abdullah, please, can you mute, please? The first blocker, I'm just checking the chats from the first blocker is CV, but we might just do a final running when we're done. So the first blocker was CV. The second blocker is assessment test. The third blocker is your assessment center. The thing with assessment center is actually that this is where they drop a lot of people. And here, right, you have to have some element of personal agency to get through assessment centers. And what do I mean by element of personal agency? Personal agency means you value your self-development so much that when there is time for you to contribute to discourse, when there is time for you to present, and when there is time for you to answer questions, you are capable of those things. That's what it means, right? Now, there was a tweet I put out, and I was saying that when you value self-development, it increases your chances. And for me, I think one major reason why I got in when I did mine is this. For those who know me on the call prior to now, I'm a voracious reader. I read a lot of books. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, right? A lot of enlightening YouTube videos, right? I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? And so I do a lot of research. And so when they ask you questions, because you have soaked yourself in quite a lot of information that are useful even to your personal life, you can give very wonderful answers, not just random answers that you cram from ChatGPT or that you cram from Gemini. There are usually like maybe some activities in assessment center, right? You have maybe group exercise, you have case study presentation. Case study and presentation should be together, really. And then yeah, those are majorly the things you have. Then you have to present all the things. Now let me start with group exercise. Or let me start with how all these things how you should approach this, right? The first one is group exercise. Now, when you're in a group exercise, the reason why there is a group exercise is this. When you get to the firm, you're not going to be working by yourself. You are not. You're going to be working with a group of people in achieving the same goal. In fact, if you get into consulting, what happens is, because it's consulting, you work with a lot of different firms. When you work in consulting, you want to solve the problem of a particular firm, but you do it in a small, concentrated group. So that group is focused on solving that particular problem. So if you cannot work in a team, then you're going to have a lot of problem in the firm. So the reason why there is group exercise is because they want to understand your understanding, or they want to understand how you work in a team. If you have the capacity to even work in a team in the first place, because see, nobody, I can work long hours. I mean, if I should, it should be stamped on my forehead by now. It should. I can work long hours. I don't mind it. I can write very, very complex codes. I can write that. I can, I can, I can present something. I can get deliverables done under extreme pressure, right? I can do all of those things. Where I draw the line is to work with a toxic team member. I genuinely dislike it with every power in me. I don't like it. I don't like it. I can do all of those other things. I mean, but to work with someone that is extremely difficult, I really do. It messes with all aspects of me, with all aspect of my work, right? So I do not like it. I do not. I do not. Right? And so I want to always make sure that I work with good team members. So if you're doing group exercise and I'm your assessor, what do you think I'll be looking out for? This is how a lot of assessors think. In your group, for those of you that have done group exercise before, the setting is they share you guys into different groups, group of fours and fives, right? One person is watching you. If it's physical, somebody will be around, just be listening in. It doesn't, the person is in the firm, right? He listens in on the, just looks at how all of you contribute, what you guys say, how you say it, and all of that. If it's online, the person will be in the room with you, but it's just going to be muted. He's not going to say anything. It just looks around, right? Now, if I'm an assessor, what do you think I want to see? You as the person being assessed, you know that teamwork these people wants you. First of all, you want to contribute. It is 100% compulsory. What are you doing in the room when you're not saying anything? Are you kidding all of us? You're wasting our time. In fact, the assessor that is there, he has deliverables. And you are here, he's looking at you, you didn't say one word, and you expect to go to the next stage. As how? As how now? Doesn't work like that. You need to be able to, first of all, contribute. Please contribute. No matter what they're talking about, you have to have one or two or three or four things to say. You have to. And when you're contributing, it shows the quality of your thought, because you speak on what you've known, you speak on what you've digested, you speak based on the things that you think about. Right. So the person is watching how you speak. When I mean watching how you speak, the quality of your speech, how eloquent you are, how articulate exactly you are, right? And also the person is watching how you're thinking. Because when you're verbalizing your perspective, you're walking the other guys through how you arrived at this point. And those things are very important. You want someone that can think on your team. You don't just want random people, right? You don't want random guys that well, they just say the next thing that comes to their head without filtering out the things they need to say, the things that they do not have to say, right? So assessors watch how you think, right? The second thing with group exercise is this, yeah. It's not about you winning an argument. I think when I was applying, there was a particular job I applied to. I think it's UBA. I don't know, I can't. It's UBA. And then we got into the room, and then we really had some two guys in that place that wanted to make sure that they looked better than the remainder of us in the room. Jesus Christ of Nazareth, bro. Like, once somebody raises an opinion, the other person just say, I don't think like that. I think this is what should be done. If we go like this, then starts talking about the disadvantages of every other person's opinion. Now, of course, many of us, I don't think anybody in that group got in right. But the point in case was the person handling that stuff was a Jobberman's representative. So the person witnessed all of those things, right? And then when we were done, it was like, then he gave me these rules. He gave us these rules, but I held it because it really helps me in my other stuff, applications. He said, number one, if you're doing group exercise, the leader is not meant to dominate. The leader is meant to coordinate. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you should arrive at an answer, not at 5 answers. Arrive at one answer. At most, 2 answers that everybody share sentiments with. You do not arrive at 5 answers. So Paul has one answer. Feromi has one answer. Emmanuel has one answer. This other person has one answer. No, it must be one answer. And one answer because when you get into the firm, the solution you're looking for is not you that have it. It is the combination of everybody's brain. So you see that 5 people can be working on one document together. So you get one answer. The third thing is that even when you disagree, do not disagree like you hate the person. Disagree like you understand that person's point of view, but this is what you think based on facts and figures. This is wrong. Not destructive, yes, destructive criticism. There's something we call constructive criticism, where you criticize the person in such a way that you want the person to improve, not you want the person to be depressed, right? So you need the leader. If you volunteer to be the leader is not meant to dominate, it's just meant to coordinate. Then all of you have to arrive at 1 or 2 answers. 3, disagree in love. Disagree like professionals disagree, right? Disagree like people disagree in professional settings. You disagree a lot, but disagree based on the work, not based out of sentiments on you want them to live. In fact, the more you are disagreeing in such a way that you want them to think you're the best, the people assessing you are getting pissed because they are looking at you as a potential problem if you get into their team, right? So yeah, those things are very, 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 very important. Then case study presentation, right? The way case study presentation usually go is, I wrote a thread about that too. I think I wrote a thread about that too last week or something. The way it should go is this: they send you a question, then they send you a case study rather, then they give you a series of questions to answer by that case study. Some can say, hey, present a 5-slide PowerPoint that you present, blah blah blah, like that. Now, this is how I expect you to go through it. And again, see, please read those tweets. This one is not even for engagement. It's because imagine one of the things I wrote in the tweet, or I told someone, I think either the person was I've forgotten the job now. I think it's Zcrest or Flamings or Sahara. I've forgotten. I've spoken to quite a number of people. And I was telling them that this case study that you're giving, go and look for published papers and quote papers. The guy was like, how does it do that? I'm like, just write it somewhere that corroborates your story. There's been research that's been done about this thing. See, as long as it is legal, you can't do too much. The reason why many of us, right, couldn't really do so well in school is because our mates were saying that you do too much, and then you yourself, you decided to start doing little, and then it affected your grades, right? This is life. This one is not four corner. It is your life at the end of the day. You have to do the things that are needed in a structured and legal way to actually get what you want. Now, I think that if you have a case study and they already like gave you details, you should build a skeletal framework, right? Maybe just design how you want it to be before the day of the exam or before the day of the case study. So what you just want to do is you just want to copy and paste when you see the questions, if they've not given you the questions first hand. Because I think for UBA, they'll give you the questions first and they will have you design everything in 2 days, then you submit and all of those things. Then you come and defend it in front of a panel or something like that. But if it's a case study where they just tell you that, hey, you'll be having a case study, this case study, that, you just want to design your PowerPoint down so that you don't have problems start designing again, right? You don't want to have that problem. So you see the problem, then first of all, go to AI. Let AI explain everything, every aspect, the different perspectives of that, what do I call it? Of that question to you. When it has, ask it different questions. Make sure that you understand. One of the things you need to know is that your brain must be thorough when it comes to understanding the case study. Anybody can fire you question from any point, and you do not want to be found wanting. If you put something on your slide, you should be able to defend it, right? So use AI. I would advise to get published papers if you can do that, to be honest. Even because it's not something people do. I mean, they will ask you, how did you find this? Then using your research. That shows that you can even do thorough research, right? And you want to find facts that support your evidence or what you're saying, right? Of course, it's not compulsory if you don't find. Don't put anything that would affect you there. Then the last one about presentation is interview, how to speak. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I think it's one major thing that all of you have to learn. So for assessment center, you have group exercise, case study presentation. We've spoken about assessors. You have to talk. They are watching how you think. They are watching how you relate with other people. We also talk about leadership, how that it is not dominion, how that it is just to coordinate, how that you need to give people room to express themselves, and how that you're not here to win arguments. You're here to work as a team, and you should arrive at one result, at one answer, or at most two, that everybody shares sentiments with. And case study, build out your PowerPoint, do your research very well. Use AI now, leverage it very much, very, very much. Then make sure that you are you try to find published papers too that can support what you're doing. And in the end, speak very well. Speak very well. But we'll get there. So the next blocker or the next thing that we're looking at is interviews. So we have different kinds of interviews. For those of you that followed there was a time I did series on interview. I'm going to do another one. We have culture fit interview. Now, why do we even need culture fit interview? When the way you know you are in culture fit interview is if the person interviewing you is the HR of the firm. You know that they want to know how you fit into the organization, right? They want to know your values. They want to understand the lens at which you see life. That's what they want to do, right? And point in case here is that you want to present yourself as someone that you are in sync with the firm. You love the firm. That's how you want to present yourself. Now, how do we do that? Let's just what's here is, does this person align with the vision of this organization? Then 53% of applicants actually struggle here. Now, what's the Nigerian corporate culture cues? Hierarchy awareness, you understand respect. We're in Africa. That's quite needed, right? There is a team player that we went over. Then there is a vision of the alignment. See, one thing is sure, yeah. Before I go into all the stories I have, let me explain something to you. I think that if you're going for an interview and you do not know the vision, the mission, and the core values of that firm, I don't take you serious. I don't. Because what do you mean you want me to hire you, but you don't even know what we are trying to do in the first place? You don't know the goals that we are trying to achieve. How? You need to know them by heart. Like, when I mean by heart, I think I told this story when in the last session like this that we had. I think I told this story. I was looking for Access Bank role there. I was in the middle of Access Bank's role. So I got into this interview with their top management level executives. And those guys don't waste time. 5-10 minutes, you're done. So I was there. And then because if you're going to be doing interview of any bank, I'll just advise. And this was one thing they mentioned on the call. I mean, I didn't have light blue, right? I think that's Access Bank's color. So I just wore one blue and white striped shirt for the interview. In fact, I was in Akure, the network wasn't good. I had to run inside one place like that, one of the new buildings that they are building inside Futa. And then I was doing the interview, right? And I was standing, so I held the phone to my face with my hand. And so you know how he looks. It looks like this person was the snap passport, right? So then the guy starts, hey, can we meet you? Blah blah. My person was like, would have appreciated if you wore our blue shirt or something. I was like, hey, thank you very I'm sorry, but I didn't have that exact one. That's why I wore this blue striped shirt, blah blah blah. No problem. That one went. Then the man says, why should we hire you or something? I think can't remember exactly how it went. And I was like, I really want to work in a bank. Of course, the whole first intro. I really want to work in a bank. But the major reason why I want to work in Access Bank is that I have people in Access Bank's training school. I also have people in other banks' training school. I relate with them consistently because I want to mirror their life. I want to know how banking school is. I want to know if it's worth it. But out of all my relationship, the best and those that have stood out have actually been those guys that are in Access Banks, banking school. Honest to you, yeah, the guy nodded, and I kind of knew that I was already in the firm, right? And the point was, the point was, the next one was, okay, can you tell us your values? Yes, I remember that one very well. And I had known and crammed the values of Access Bank and all of that. And I was telling them that one of my values is leadership. Well, to be honest, that's true, Sha. That's true. I was saying one of my values is leadership and all of this, all of this. But the major thing wasn't me mentioning it. The major thing was that I intertwined those value systems with the values of Access Banking itself. So if you're saying, I'm saying that one of my major value is leadership, just as Access Bank value leadership. Take, they want you to accept ownership of whatever you're giving. That is the kind of mindset I have. And I believe with this, I'm in sync with the value system of Access Bank, and I'll be a good fit to the organization and how the organization runs. You're fine. You're fine. Because what you just explained is not just that you love being a leader, but you love being a leader in the context of working even with that particular bank. When we were done, the man said I should greet the two, what do they call it? The two guys that is representing them very well. Do you think they will not send me mail after that? Well, in rare cases, they might not, but in majority of the cases, most of the time, you're on to the next stage. And it's because I had an understanding of this, of that. Right. So let's go to the solution that I have here. Script 3 value-based star stories. Star story is star just means situation, task. What's the A here? Situation, task, forgetting this A, but you guys know and then R is result. It wants to say that you pick a situation, right? You explain the situation, then the task that has to do with that situation. This A is not assessment. And then you show the result of whatever those things have to be. It's again, it's like
Action.
action,
Who's the action?
yes.
Who's the
You guys self, I can be the one receiving the lectures from you people. That's the point here. I can be the one responsible taking this thing. But yeah, it's action. So the situation, the task, the action, and the result. So you want to frame your stories along that. We'll talk about competency based though. We'll talk about competency based. Then the second one is the method, right? And see, one thing with these star stories and star method is this, yeah. You want to keep your story short. The people listening to you they don't have all the time in the world. The method of using star is to keep your story short, under 90 seconds. You're fine. Like you've said everything. And again, I'm always saying that this thing doesn't have to be crammed. It doesn't. Just build your. You would usually find answers to this thing. Interviewers check out after 2 minutes of yapping. They don't want to yap, especially top management guys. They don't want to yap so much, right? So, what drew you to the firm? These are some questions you can ask yourself. What drew you to the firm? What you know about their current practices and direction? What you specifically bring to that journey? To be honest, many people know you're not specifically bringing something, but when they see how you think, they know that this thinking is extraordinary and has the capacity to bless us along the way, right? So that's it about this whole culture fit. Culture fit is why should we bring you in? You should bring me in because I have this value system. You should bring me in because I've experienced this. You should bring me in because I understand what your firm is trying to do. You should bring me in because this is your vision and this is how I can contribute to it. You should bring me in because of all of this, right? And technical interview, I think this technical interview is also really the same as competency based. And to be honest, yeah, I don't have many things to say to you here, and that's why I brought all the three fixes over to the screen for you to see. When it comes to competency based, and competency based is those questions where they come and say, "Tell us a moment when you were this and you had to do this. Maybe you were a leader and then there was a fight between two prominent people in your group. How would you resolve it without it affecting the organization that you are leading?" Let me tell you, those things, they want to know how you think on your feet. It is not compulsory that that is your experience. I think and people miss that point a lot because they're always looking for what is their experience. Jesus, what's my experience? What's this? What's that? Right? That's not what you're looking for. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for answers that solve the problem that they are giving you, but it doesn't have to be that you've been the one leading it. This particular point assesses how you think and what you would do if you get in those kinds of situations. I also usually previously, it's very good when you use an experience, especially if you have the experience. I mean, I have led a team before, but what of someone that hasn't led a team through their undergraduate? What are they going to say? Are they not going to see anything? What of someone that was what they really did undergrad is just school and they were playing football? Are they not going to see anything? How would they then get into the organization? No, the point is, how can you think about this? You're saying two people are fighting. Then you want to say that first things first is you maintain objectivity. Objectivity as to the major alliance that all of us have is to the organization. Now, the major reason why they are fighting or why there is everybody needs to understand that the major reason why they probably have a disagreement is they do not agree with each other's method of doing things. But we need to agree that everybody wants a solution to this problem. So in that light, you want to call them, understand their grievances, or understand why they think the other person cannot do, the other person's method cannot work. Bring it, let's discuss it. Put down the pros and the cons, and just like that, we can fix the problem, because when this person sees this pro and this con, and the other team member sees these pros and these cons, people naturally tilt towards an answer that is in alliance with the organization. And you try as much as possible to explain to the other person that was disagreeing that based on what the firm wants to do, this seems like a very good direction to take. But the person also needs to know that they are being heard. That's why both ideas were not discarded, first of all. That's a very good answer. I mean, if I was on the other end, I think, okay, this person is thinking, right? So it is how you can think it's how you can think, really, and how you can solve problems. And like I said, if you invest in personal development, right? If you invest in things that makes you better, you can be able to answer all these questions. Of course, maybe not so perfect. Nobody needs your perfection. Nobody. Even the people interviewing you, they are not the perfect bunch. But they just want to know that you are attempting this, you are taking them through your thinking, and they are fine with it. So just to move fast, because I really want us to have quite a number of time for questions that we do have. So then the next one is management interview, right? Where you speak with top level leadership, right? Again, script your first 90 days. Where do you see yourself? All these questions. Have a leadership story ready. Whatever you led or something, if it comes to that, then please always ask a brilliant question. At the end of the day, always ask a brilliant question. And these are some questions. What does success look like in your role in the first year? Signals, blah, 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 blah. It makes them know that, okay, this person is at least thinking. The question I ask is, what's an advice you're going to give your younger self? Right. And I think it's a very good question. And because I'm even genuinely interested. If I'm interviewing with somebody that is 20 years into the job, what advice do you give your younger self? Are you going to tell your younger self to quit? Are you going to tell your younger self to do something better? Because it really does help, right? So 62% rated their knowledge 5 out of 10. I mean, we checked how much people know graduate training process. Just about 50% says that they know more than half of it. And I think these are some of the problems by which people prepare generic interviews. You guys just do only one CV. You send out CV to oil and gas, you send that CV to bank, you send that CV to tech, you send that CV to consulting, you send it to investment banking. Come on, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So no preparation for assessment centers, like I've always said. So these are the things that companies actually test, right? So I think when these things get to YouTube, I think it's going to, you guys can check it there. So the gap between the two columns is exactly where the GT offers are left. So we have 6 stages really, generally, on a general note. Maybe some are less, some are more, but on a general note, your CV, your assessment test, your assessment center, your culture fit interview, your competency-based interview, then by the grace of the Lord, offer letter, right? So those are some things that you have to prepare for. You have to prepare for. Um, at every stage, your competition is underprepared. Every slide in this deck is a concrete edge over them, right? I'm just telling you that when you understand the reason why these things are done, you're probably much more better prepared than the other person. So yeah, the offer doesn't go to the most talented. It actually goes to the most prepared, to be very honest. I'm a testament of that. So I think at this point, I think this is my last slide. Yeah. So thank you very, very much, guys. I think at this point, I want to really get people's opinions on a lot of things or people's questions. And if there are questions in the chat box, just let me know. Yeah, it's been recorded. It will go on YouTube. It will go on YouTube. So yeah, I think I will just stop sharing now. And while you guys can be coming up with questions, or you can raise your hand for the questions, I will just look for that tweet I mentioned. I will drop it in the chat box, and then we can take the remaining 45 minutes to do Q QA. And then no, but I think maybe after I see these tweets, then we'll do that CV stuff. Yeah. So yeah, anyone wants to. So Paul, you want to help us unmute the guys that have questions. Hello, Paul. I think you can unmute. Paul, you can unmute, please.
All right.
Okay, so I will mute. You just take over the question part. Thank you very much.
Please, if you have any question, I think at this point, you need to put up your hands or you make use of the chat box. Okay, so someone is asking question. Are you with me? Confirm.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Is it in the
Okay,
chat?
so
Just help me read it out if it's in the chat, please.
in the chat box, he said, I do have a question about case study presentation. Is it going to be an impromptu presentation or the case study would be sent earlier for preparation?
That's absolutely up to the firm that is conducting the exam. There are some that they send it before. I think UBA sends before, and there are some that you have to do it within as impromptu, right? They would look at how you think about it, how you arrive at your answers and all of that. So it's not one way fit. That was why I was explaining that. That was why I explained the two scenarios. Depends entirely on the firm. You don't have it one way. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. Someone is also asking, concerning the case study you mentioned, where we can use AI for our PowerPoints. If the trainer asks during the presentation where I got the information, can I say I got it from AI?
The problem is not AI. The problem is your research. How do you do the research? Everybody knows that everybody uses AI. Everybody can keep deceiving themselves. I'm not anti-AI. Even if you're working for me, if you're under my team, I'm not anti-AI. The point is, can you defend whatever is on the presentation, right? If they say, where did you get it? You did research. If they say what kind of research and they are mandating you to ask if it's AI, say yes, you did some research using some AI tools. I do not think that you should be penalized for that. That's absolutely preposterous if you're being penalized for that. The major problem will now be that you put it on your slide and you cannot defend it. It means that you didn't do any research. You just went to AI to do copy and paste, which wouldn't look good on you, right? Which wouldn't suggest that you did some sort of independent thinking on that. So the problem has never been the use of AI. The problem has never been AI. The problem has always been the use of AI in itself, right? So if you can defend what you have there, I don't think I have a problem with. I don't think anybody should have a problem with how you got your content. Yeah. I should also mention that you don't expect that all your content is within ChatGPT and you're reading it out to them and they'll be happy because you're doing research. Doesn't make any sense, right? You've had folks that they just rely 100% on AI. They do not want to use any inch of their, and they do not want to even think, right? You do not want to do that. You just want to leverage AI for research. It's a cumulative tool that will really help you get somewhere in no time. But if you can defend it, I don't think there should be a problem.
Okay, so we have more questions rolling in now. Will your calculator be available for first stage assessment?
My people, those questions, you see, I don't really answer them on the group. I'm a data engineer, I'm not a recruiter. I do not know anything about calculators being accepted or calculator not accepted. I do not even have answers for that. However, right, I think that the calculator being used or not being used, if the firm really wants you to use calculator, use the calculator. If the firm doesn't want you to use calculator and they are complaining about it, I don't think you should use it, right? And the reason is this. If they say you don't need calculator, then because I remember the assessment test we did for Access Bank when I did, we didn't use calculator and it was actually physical. We didn't use calculator, right? And the questions were calculator friendly. Like you don't need so much calculators to do it. You know, there's a way they ask all these questions in GRE and GMAT that you don't really need calculators, and it's just how you think about it that is it. So for me, either you use calculator or not, I don't think that is bona fide. Um, is the bone of contention is that did you consistently practice for it? If you consistently practice for it, I think you'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, Juliet is asking, thank you so much for this presentation. So my question is this, for someone already having a BSc and could not go for NYC because they enrolled to another diploma program, are they totally disqualified for internship whose criteria includes NYC completion? Honorable Fermi, are you with me?
Sorry, I was muted. I was like, please, can you come over again?
Okay, Juliet asked this question. He said, for someone that already has a BSc and could not go for NYC because they enrolled to another diploma program, are they totally disqualified for internship whose criteria includes NYC completion?
Hey, I'm sorry about that. I think NYC is either you have NYC discharge certificate or you have NYC exemption certificate. If you don't have either, I don't think they would consider, irrespective of you going over for another diploma program. It's a thing with the Nigerian constitution. Yes, it's a thing with the Nigerian constitution. It's not that the firms really want it like that, but they just have to abide because it's a Nigerian thing.
Okay, Odoanya is asking, can we use our phone for research during physical case study at the assessment center?
That's not dependent on me now. It's dependent on the firm. If they say, oh, you can do all your research on your phone, by all means use it. If they say you can't, then you can't use it. It's not one size fits all.
So Anthony asked a question. He said, for someone with a completely different background from their area of application, for instance, I studied Medilab and I'm applying for audit. Do you have to sell a convincing story as to why I am making that switch? Also, since they are usually competency-based interviews, do you have to know much about the unit you're applying for?
Uh, so we have engineers in tax in KPMG. We have all kinds of folks in investment banking, right? One of our guys still got into an investment banking firm and he did marine science. So all kinds of things. So first things first is that you don't have to you don't have to what do I call it now? You don't have to what would I call it? You don't have to study that particular thing, right? That's like the first thing. The second thing is yes, please familiarize yourself with what they do. It's just the thing to do. Familiarize yourself with what they do, know what they want, and make your research about it. The person interviewing you knows that you are not in accounting, right? They know that you probably do not even know debit and credit, right? So, but familiarize yourself with what they do, familiarize yourself with how they do it, and I think you'll be fine.
Okay, this is another question. I'm having issue with passing as the assessment stage. And it is not because I don't prepare ahead of time, but I think I'm not using the right reading approach. I mostly solve past questions using ChatGPT, and it is not really that helpful because it mostly doesn't follow a particular strategy in solving. For instance, numerical question. Can you actually help on the right way to prepare for this?
So, assessments, numerical questions, all of these things. The first things first is to show up every day, right? And if I tell you that prepare like this, you're going to pass, then I honestly would be lying to you. It's math. I don't know how your brain comprehend math. I don't know how your how reading, how you take reading on your end, right? For me, the solution to anything that is very hard for me is that you show up on Monday, you show up on Tuesday, you show up on Wednesday, you show up on Thursday, you show up on Friday. I do not have any wand to say that, hey, if you do like this, like interviews, if you do like this, you're going to be better off than the other person. No. But if you show up every day, maybe one day it might just click. So for me, for numerical interview, that's how it works. That's how it works, really.
So Victory asks this question. I got an offer from more than one company. If you had to advise me, what should be the main point or guideline for choosing a place of work, especially if I'm looking for a sustainable career?
That's very vague, right? Because a lot of my friends are on this table, a lot of folks in the group self, and you just don't say, I got in two firms. What are the firms, right? I need to know what are the firms, because if you're saying, okay, I got into Deloitte and I got into Access Bank, okay, there are things to consider. Guys, give me 1 second, please. So sorry, guys. So point in case again is, if it's between Deloitte and Access Bank, I know the things to consider. I know how to structure my answer for you. But if you say within two firms, every firm is different. Every firm has what they would offer you compared to compared to the other firm, right? Every you get. So I can't just say, hey, but first things first is this. Number one, what do you want to do in your long-term career? Do you have something like that on the table? Consider that. Number two, we are in Nigeria. You need all the money you can get. The second thing is consider the financial strength of each of the firm. Number three is look at how much there is job security there. It's not like they wake up one day and then tell you to be going home, right? You want to look at that. Then fourth thing is go to LinkedIn, text people from both ends, ask them that, hey, you have this offer, what do they think? Tell them that you have two offers, to be honest. Tell them that you have two offers. They will usually like tell you the truth about things, right? Tell them you have this, should you do this? What's the culture like inside there and all of those things, right? So I would really, really advise those things, but I cannot give you a definitive answer to say that, okay, you have this, go for this business. Now, I need to know the two firms and then you can make your decision. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. So Precious is asking a question. I'm curious, do these complaints repeat past questions during the assessment? I think that's the first question. So still asking question. She said, for the second assessment test, are we supposed to use the same past question we used for the first assessment during preparation?
I don't know what you mean by second pass question or second assessment. First things first, I sent a link to the group now. Please check the link. It contains how you can just some sites, I think 3 or 4 YouTube pages where can help you practice numerical stuff. Please help me retweet too, and you should punch follow if you go through my timeline. So that's the first thing. After this 4, please, you just pause the question so I can show you guys some things. So the second about repeat past questions, that's essentially why people look for past questions. That's why people look for past questions, because a lot of them repeat past questions. You can't say definite, but it's also good that you practice with past questions, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is what's the second question? Are we supposed to use the same past question you used for the first assessment? I think this question is directly relating to a particular firm, and I don't know the firm you're talking about. But the point is, use the past question that you are meant to use for the other past question. I don't know if that makes sense. So if they say there is past question for SHL, you can't use that SHL past question for cornerstone assessment. It doesn't make any sense. So use SHL assessment, be past question for SHL. Keep GMAT past question for GMAT. So you can't use, if they say they are writing two kinds of exams, the two kinds of exams are not going to be the same thing. If you've used one past question and it matches what you did in first exam, you have to look for another past question to match what was the second exam. Just like school. If you wrote 401 today, or you wrote 401 yesterday, then you are writing 407 today. You're not going to use past question of 401 for 417 because they are different tests, even though you are writing them on the same day, right? So yeah, I think that's it. One thing I want to also do as we are here is that YouTube tells me that a lot of you are not subscribed to the channel. So I'm here. I'm a humble person. I'm a humble person. Please, I'll pull up my screen now. I'll show you guys the chat. And I want those of you that have not subscribed to go and subscribe to that channel. I want to get this in the face of many people as much as possible. As much as possible. Where is my YouTube page here? Okay. So share. So can you guys see the YouTube page? You guys should talk to me in chat now. You guys have been asking like 500 questions in the chat. You're not even replying me again now. Okay, thank you. So please, if you're not subscribed, I will just stay here for like 10 minutes and then we'll continue with the question. Please, kindly subscribe. Please, I'll just stay here. This is the name of the channel, right? This is it. I can make it bigger for you guys. Yes, this is it. This is the name of the channel. And it would update, yeah. So guys, please go and subscribe in the chat on YouTube. I want you guys to do it now. I'll just keep what do I say? Um Reloading it because I know some of you would actually subscribe. It's okay to like forget. Okay, 3 of you have actually subscribed. So please now let's get this thing to like 1.5. You guys are here. And I think for those that don't know, I actually have a YouTube channel. These are the videos on the YouTube channel, right? We've spoken about custodian. The latest one has been custodian, GT Bank, Stanbic, Deloitte, EY. GT Bank is currently the one that's currently out, right? I imagine people will be watching this a lot. This was actually narrated. It's not my experience because of course I was never in Stanbic Bank's process, right? So yeah, you should watch this again and again. For me, I mean that's what I'm probably going to do. And I think that I should just mention it, right? In my early days, I was always making videos for younger people, right? Just making videos for younger people. See, and I think that's like some of the videos I've made is some of the issues that younger ones have, right? For example, you're not special, and it's actually good news. I think that if you can, you should check in on some of these old videos. I think it is very, 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 very important, especially as you grow, right? I think so. I think so. I made 36 videos. That's a lot. 50, please. So yeah, I think you should just check it out. As this one, personally, I would recommend it to anyone. For me, it was like almost like a deliverance when I understood this particular concept. Stop searching for purpose. A lot of you are actually probably doing that and you've not even still found it. So I'm telling you to stop searching and then go and look at this. Also, the issue of planning. Sometimes you overplan, you don't do things. Show up today, show up tomorrow. For your numerical course, show up today, show up tomorrow, and that's it, to be honest. Right. So guys, please just go through it. It takes quite a lot of time to do, talking to people. Yeah, it does. And there's still a lot coming. I've been speaking to some guys in oil and gas. Of course, that's quite difficult to get through, but I'm going to start doing videos on oil and gas. Thank you very much. I think, is this 10 more people or 11 more people? Guys, just like 3 minutes more, just kindly push subscription button. Help me spread the news. And then we'll continue the question. I think would have about maybe 15 to 20 minutes more by the time we're done here. Just 3 more minutes. This 3:37 p.m. By 4 p.m. we should be out of here. Thank you. And I think also that another thing you should probably check out. Nah, I'm coming. Let me stop sharing this. We'll come back here, but let me just show you something on my X page. Show you something on my X page. Share. Where's the X page? Okay. Okay. Can you guys see the X page? Can you guys see the Twitter page? Okay, thank you. So the way I kind of try to structure it is that anyone who comes here, the pinned tweet is just a cumulation of all the videos I've done. So you can also go to Twitter to check all the cumulation so I just keep adding it. And there are particular threads I've written. So if you come here and you search interviews on my or let's say you're looking for competency-based interview, you have competency-based interview, just come here, then you search competency on the page. You're going to see this, and then if you click on this particular one and you check the quotes, I don't know. I don't think I can check quotes from my kidney here. I've written a thread on this. I've written a thread on technically everything here. So if you just go through the quotes of this, you're going to find what you're looking for. And also, this is one for competency-based interviews and all of that, right? You can like literally anything that you actually find. This is for technical interviews and all of those things, right? And yeah, the name also here is Ferromibat, right? You can just punch follow. And I try to post think all these, what do they call it? Openings, yeah. But yeah, I think for me, that's just it. But the major one for me really is usually the YouTube, because I think that's where a lot of value is. Even though I try to distill some of the value on X also. Try to distill some of the value on X. So Paul, we'll come back to all of these ones. Let's continue with the questions. Thank you.
Yeah, brother, man, I think we promised to review a CV too. Are we still doing that?
Oh yeah. What's the time? Okay, do you have any CV?
Yes, I have a couple, but I'll send one.
A couple? No, please send one that you know that needs a lot of work. Or if you remember someone from last class that attended last class, please prioritize the person. You send it to my WhatsApp, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to.
Can I say something?
Yeah, who is there, please?
It's
What's your
Jason.
name?
I
Okay.
also sent you my CV to the group to critique it.
Okay. That's all left to Paul. It's not really on.
Okay.
It's not
All
really
right.
on.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Whichever one Paul sends. Yeah. Let's do that critique. Thank you, Jason.
I just sent one.
Okay, let me check. Okay. I was thinking Stephanie wanted her CV review the last time. I'm not sure if I'm correct that it's Stephanie now. But I remembered one name last time. Oh, no problem. I'll just review this one that you've sent. Just open it. But then what that now means is that you would have to help me. The questions, we can't answer everything one by one.
Most likely, I'll drop it on the group
The
throughout
thing
the
is, you
meeting.
can just module them together. Anyone speaking of the same thing, just merge them together. Do you understand? Yeah, so because I imagine this, if the CV is not so, it will take me a lot of time. So I'm opening the CV. So okay. From the look of things, I think it's a good one. Share. Okay. Can you see my screen? Can everybody see the CV on my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can, sir.
Okay, good. So the first thing here is to be honest, I don't need to know that you're living in Ijebu-Ode or Ogun State, right? Assuming you're living in Lagos, I would appreciate this because most of the jobs you would probably be applying for will be in Lagos, right? Worst things, you just remove Ijebu-Ode, leave only Ogun State, please. This Ijebu doesn't work. So in case if I want to bring you on board and I say that you're in Ijebu, this person will probably want to have accommodation issues when they're coming to Lagos or something like that. So you will just want to leave that. If you put Ogun State, it's still more vague, right? It can be somewhere near Lagos or something. But yes, your number, okay. Then email, okay. So professional summary. So now, one major reason why you want to do professional summary or career summary or something is that if you're applying to, let's say finance, this thing has to be tailored to finance, right? If you're applying to tech, this thing has to be tailored to tech. And if you're in graduate training, it can be a general one, but it should tilt towards that, sector, right? You might not really have so much to write when you're a graduate training because you've really not had a lot of experiences, as it were, right? But you should still tilt it a little bit. So let's read what Paul wrote. And by the way, all of you seeing Paul, this is not Paul's CV. Like Paul's name is Fashikwe Paul, so he didn't like bring his CV and veto you guys. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. Now the thing is, business admission graduates with early career experience in credit assessment, loan processing, client relationship, deliver the 300% increase. Paul, you top performer, 300%. Sorry, I make little jokes, so don't get worked up. Sound loan evaluation, follow up, maintaining a zero default record throughout, holds a strong interest in credit risk, retail banking portfolio, and is currently working towards a CIB. I think I like what you put here. It shows that you've been doing one or two things in finance, and I imagine this is actually what you used to apply for finance related roles or investment banking related roles. The point is you've done one or two things in finance, and you understand loans, you understand relationship management and all of that. Yes, I think this is good. Also, for me, yeah, I have this bias. I was taught, right, that this long is bad, right? But it is what it is. This long hyphen indicates that ChatGPT wrote it. You might want to replace this long hyphen with something. It's actually a general bias in the streets, especially with HR. Once they see it, they all believe, hey, ChatGPT wrote it. So yeah, you might want to, but I think the summary is actually good. So professional experience, credit officer, Beam of Hope Microfinance Bank, September. Yeah. So anytime you're writing these things, you did yours correctly. Let this whole thing be aligned, right? You shouldn't just write it anyhow. I liked the fact that this is actually boldened out. Then there is this that wasn't boldened out because the major thing is your role. Then the next place is your place of work, right? Except maybe your place of work is all these gigantic places. Say you worked in KPMG, or you worked in one big firm, Deloitte, you worked in Chapel Hill, like all those big ones, yes. But if it's just, yes, you just want to make it cool like this, yeah. So September 24 to November 2024. Okay, grew daily revenue from 20K to 80K, client conduct. And I like the fact that this summary is actually matching up with this. You rarely see that, right? You rarely see that. I think this person has worked on his on his CV so much. Why did you still send it? But I mean, it's one of the things to learn. And I think that's why the person worked on it, because they are consistently always working on it. Though that's why they even offered to send today. So yeah, actively monitored. Yeah, process loans managed. Yeah, I think the words are good. I think the alignments are very fine too for me. Research experience, undergraduate, Department of you want these dates, right? These dates to be aligned with these dates. And I think they are not. I think maybe they are. I think they are. If they are, that's good. That's good, right? So yeah, you might want to shift it out more. So it's not like it's sitting on this whole place. You want to shift it out. If you shift it out here to doesn't change anything, to be honest. Undergraduate research, blah blah blah, volunteer experience, NYSC tip top group of schools. Yeah, then tip top group of schools, recognize our best COP member, June 2025 through March 26. Okay, this person just finished. Oh, you just finished March 2026. 2026, blah blah blah. Recognize the score. Okay. Business and OU second class 3.4. Okay, I would want you to remove the second class lower, right? Because it has its own disadvantage in the job market, right? I want you to remove this. Just put your school there and what you studied. I think you're fine. You're fine. You don't need to put this. You don't need to put it. It has its own disadvantage in the market. So Chartered Institute of Bankers, this is good. Again, I want to say that if you have tutu, right, one of the things that you can help yourself with is the kind of courses you take or the sacrifices you can take to do more things, because you need more things to get into the room, right? There's always this complaint on X that, hey, every time 2-1, 2-2, 2-2, this one, age, this one. You know that once you get tutu, of course, I think UBA accepts tutu, I think Access Bank does accept tutu, but again, you just want to do more. You want to do more. And I think this is more trying to write these examinations. I think they are very good. I think especially if you can. I don't know how all these institutes of bankers exam work. Maybe you pay it for yourself or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's a very good to show that, see, tutu is not the end of life. Many people graduated with tutu and they are doing very fine, very well, very, very well. So if you're here and you're out on tutu, please don't kill yourself. Don't kill yourself. It's already happened, right? You don't have to stress yourself on that again. So yeah, core skills. To be honest, this person is not stressing me on their CV. I think they've really done a pretty good job, and they just need to push and push and push. Except for this Ijebu, please, I beg you. One more Ijebu. Please remove the Ijebu part. Yeah, I think we are good. We can do one more then.
Okay, I'll send one more to you now.
Yeah.
I think there's a guy that's asked us on the group. Hope I find the CV.
Can I ask a question about this person's CV?
Yes, please go on.
Okay, so I would like to get a perspective on placing your NYSC experience under volunteer experience. So okay, for this person now, say his experience doesn't for the NYC part doesn't necessarily align with like maybe what he looks to go into in the future or what he studied in school. So would you say for somebody that actually has NYC experience that aligns with what they studied in school or possibly what they want to pursue as a career, should they come under professional experience or you should still keep it under volunteering experience?
Since we're all about increasing our probabilities, please bring it under professional experience. If it does contribute to where you'll be applying to, because you need all the leverage and all the advantage you can get. Right, yeah. So just in one word, bring it under professional experience. Yeah. Does that suffice?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Okay, yeah, I think Paul sent me something. Okay. First things first, with what Paul sent me, the person is Jason. And anytime you want to send your CV out, please do not send Microsoft Word out. It's not, what's the English now? It's not okay. Anybody can edit it for you. Anybody can edit it for you. So, let me try to go to LinkedIn and then pull out. Let me just stop sharing so this one picks up. Okay, I'm just going to share this screen now. Okay, share. So, first things first, like I mentioned, please, it should always be in PDF. I don't even like how this is looking because it's not in PDF. I imagine this is a very good CV. If it's in PDF, it's going to look more better than this. But yeah, that's that with that. Yeah. Why is there okay, is your mail adeyemi@gmail.com? Or if there is a space? If there is a space, then this is not a valid email, right? Because there is no space between email addresses, right? Yeah. Just okay, profile, analytical petroleum goods. Second class of pass, honors, practical experience, spanning power. I think this can be better, right? Your second class upper can be in your school, right? I think you want to really be focused on what you can do and what you think can give you advantage. I appreciate second class upper, but I don't think it should be here. I don't even think first class should be in the profile, right? But yeah, so if you're going for accounting or if you want to apply for a financial role, you want to really leverage on your data analytics skill rather than your IoT system skill, right? Again, is to tilt it towards the sector you're applying to, right? So yeah, I want to rewrite this a little bit, tilting it so much. Not remove the new graduate so much thing there, say that you've done one or two or three or four things, right? And again, you can only use this one to apply for an engineering role. I hope you know. If it is general graduate training, say tech, you have to work on this and you put everything. You put Python, you put electrical system, you put data analytics. I think you should be focused. You should be focused. Then experience. Okay, delivered structured mathematics instruction, blah blah blah. I think this experience is too vague. I think professional experience, right? I think it's vague. Again, I don't like the formatting. Schools, your date shouldn't be here. Your date should be in alignment with this particular date. I don't like how this is. You should really structure it. And I think at minimum, you should have like 3 bullet points under each. It shouldn't be too much too, really, because you're just another grad, right? But you should be able to say you want to talk about how you also contributed to the life of your students, right? Something like that. More of an educator person, more of someone who was determined to help them pass their WAEC or pass their GSS or something. Data science trainee. I think without the word of training, you can use internship. Training sounds, I don't know, but you can use internship. Data scientist intern. Yeah, that says that you're doing something. That says that you're doing something. You're an intern, so at least you're getting some level of work done. Yeah. Engineering intern, but on district assisted in monitoring, software troubleshooting. Okay. Then your project. If, for example, when I did Schneider Electric's interview, and by the way, please, you guys stop sleeping on Schneider Electric if you're an engineer. Right. When I did Schneider Electric's interview, he said one of the things they asked them was that they present their final year project and defend it. So if you're applying for a place like that, it's okay. But if you're applying for a place like KPMG, nobody wants to know how IoT based smart water works, right? You're 100% of the time, I mean, 80% of the time, you're not going to be doing that, right? Yeah. Leadership and award, Bible study secretary. You should invite me to your church, or you should come and teach me how to study the scriptures. But yeah, just shows your leadership stuff, head of choir. Oh, you attended covenant then. Education, VNG. Okay, you can come here to put second class up, but to be very honest, I think you're fine. I think you're fine. Skills, field and technical skills. Again, this is an engineering heavy CV. If you're applying for Access Bank, I hope you're not using this. If you're applying for GTB, I hope you're not using this. I hope you're tilting it towards the sector like we mentioned. And skills, let it be clear what you can do. Soft and hard skills. What are the hard skills that are here really? I'm seeing only soft skills here. I'm not seeing any hard skills here. Software skills, Microsoft Office suite. Okay, but few technical skills. I think this one is a hard skill. This one is a hard skill, right? Those are hard skills. IoTs, they are hard skills, right? So yeah, I think the major thing is this is engineering heavy. You need to adapt it to the general application. Yeah, I think this works. I think we're fine on here, except maybe Jason himself or any other person has a question concerning the CV.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. Okay. Paul, can we go back to the question and then we should be done with that in 10 minutes. We are out of time here. And as you guys I'll just pull up my YouTube video. That will be on a YouTube page. That will be on the screen. So please just subscribe to that and share it with your friends as much as possible. But Paul, yeah, you on the floor now. You can go on, please.
Okay, so the last question will be taken. I think that's all.
Oh, cool.
So I noticed that I spend too much time drafting my CV for each role. Do you have a prompt or a method to shorten the time used to draft CV that will guarantee success to the next stage?
So if you notice how I've answered questions on the group, I really want people to do things majorly themselves, right? I don't keep prompts, and the goal is not for you to keep prompts. I usually want the best solution at the end of the day, right? The goal is not to keep prompts. The goal is to get to a point where you understand how to use LLMs. And when I mean LLMs, ChatGPT, Gemini, and all of those things. The goal is that you get to that point where you can use those things yourself. And then you can get to a point where it's important that you understand how to prompt. So if I'm you, or if I were you, this is how I'm going to go. This is how I'm going to go about it, right? I'm applying for graduate training, right? And you want to list all of the sectors. When I use LLMs, I'm pretty detailed. You want to list all the sectors you're applying to, or even all the firms, KPMG, that, or everything, right? And you're saying that, okay, you're giving the stuff your CV. Say, okay, this is my CV, right? And let's see, and you list all the skills you have, you list all the certifications you have, you list the things you've learned, you list the things that you're learning, right? And you're saying that, okay, if I want to apply to KPMG, how should I tailor my CV according to KPMG? Now, you're not doing that out of vacuum. You're carrying everything that KPMG give you, like requirements, like job description. You are carrying all those things and then you're putting it within, right? And you're saying, based off this, what do you think would be my advantage? Then from there, you have conversations and then you can rework and rework and rework your CV. If you should say I should give you one prompt, I don't think it works like that, at least for me. You want to be quite dedicated and then give it 30 minutes, 1 hour. It's your life here. And so when you do that, you are in a much better position, right? You're in a much better position to have something better rather than just one prompt that wouldn't solve all the problems. So that's what I think you should do. That's what I think you should do. Yeah, I think that's it for me. So my subscriber is 1,418. Does it mean that we have only 12 people that just subscribed? Yeah. I'm deliberately showing you this dashboard, right? Because you see it as it moves. Okay, one more person dropped. Is there any other person still here that has not subscribed? I think with this we can have Do we have any other more questions? Maybe you can raise up your hand or something. But please subscribe
I
and
think someone is asking a question that
okay.
he said, what advice will you give someone who is always shaking during interviews?
First things first is that nobody will beat you. That's like the first thing. Nobody is here to beat you and you won't beat yourself. That's the first thing. The second thing is accept that, and it's funny, but this is it. Accept that you do not have like full control over who they finally pick. What you want to do on your end is to increase your own probabilities, and this is it. First things first is conversation. Interview is a conversation, and you need to treat it as such. You are not going to have a conversation with me and you are going to be afraid, right, about what I'm going to say. No, I'm not going to have conversation with Paul and we are afraid. No, the first thing is know that it's a conversation. That's the first thing. The second thing is this, yeah. Know that it's okay not to have all of the answers. I think many of you do not know that. And you always want to have all the answers. Know that it's okay not to have all the answers. Know that it's okay that it's okay that you can make mistakes. It's okay that you can attempt something and you get it wrong. Almost everybody that I've interviewed got one or two questions wrong. In fact, the person I sat with in KPMG said he doesn't even know the full meaning of KPMG. Imagine. And he got into the firm, right? So you don't have you can have answers to everything. That's the second thing. The third thing is this, be authentic. The moment you are afraid, you want to pander to them, you want to so much impress them that you want to lose your personality. And you can't fake your personality for long. Just be authentic. Be authentic. Say the ones you have answers to as much as you know you've prepared. And last one is personal, right? You can take it or not. For me, a level of nonchalance helps to say that if I get in, thank God. If I don't get in, go to the next stage. So that removes the burden from my head because I know that I still have plenty that I've applied to. It removes the burden. If I get in, thank God. If I don't get in, so I'm chilled. It's not do or die for me. It's not do or die affair. It's that I'll do what I can do. The best, I'll perform to the best of my ability, but that's as much as it comes. That's as much as it comes. And most of the time, most times when I get to interviews, I don't get turned back. Most times. And that's the thing. If you say that if I perish, I perish. Most of the time you don't perish. You don't perish. If you're a Christian here, Esther said, if I perish, I perish. She didn't perish, right? Most of the time, if you just do it and then do it afraid, you don't perish. But you need to get into that right frame of mind. You need to get into that right frame of mind, right? You need to get into that right frame of mind. So I think that's what I'm going to say concerning it. And please practice again and again and again and again. Practice with your siblings, practice in front of the mirror, practice at the back of the mirror, practice with your friends, practice by yourself. Practice, consistently speak, right? Speak. And how do you speak very well? Maybe listen to people who speak very well, read books, write, articulate your thoughts on the paper, articulate it. And the more you do that, the more you'll be better off during your interviews. Yeah. Is that everything?
Okay, I think a question has been reoccurring.
Okay, what's it, please?
I'm trying. Said, how could a CVB tilt, an engineering CVB tilt to fit a banking sector? What do I need to do?
Again, I explained all through how you can use prompts. I just explained that. When you have conversations with prompts, you know what to do. Or conversations with LLMs, you know what to do. I can't give you, I don't work in banking and I've never done engineering, right? But I know that in banking, numbers are important. In banking, I know that they do all these accounting things. In banking, I know that they will need a lot of analytics. In banking, I know that they will need a lot of numbers-based things, right? So if you write all your skills and then you follow all the things I say about AI, I think you're going to be fine. I think you're going to be fine. But for me to sit here and say, hey, write this, write this, I don't work in banking. I didn't study engineering too. Yeah, you say it's not something I can just tell you off the hook. But if you do that with AI and LLMs, I think you'll be fine.
I think we are good to go.
Okay. But the CV structure, should it be qualifications before experience? To be honest, I think your experience should come first. But to be honest, that doesn't say that they are dropping you or they are accepting you. No. No, but it's not fit. I've been using prompts from XWIS. I've been getting interview invites. So please follow what Clement mentioned. I beg you guys. I beg you guys, follow what Clement mentioned. And I think maybe one of these days I'll just write how to use LLMs for interview, for a partner's interview for Big Four. What's the most important thing for prep? Nothing, your personal development, what you have in your head. They don't ask what you think you know. They just come, show up, and then they ask any question. So your personal development is very important. I cannot tell you for a fact, but of course, understand the vision of the firm, mission and core values and all of that. But big four partners, those guys are so they are good. You don't even know what they want to ask you. I don't even know what they wanted to ask me. So, but if you keep developing yourself, I think you're not going to be caught unawares, and they're going to ask you a question that you should be able to answer. Yeah. So I think at this point, thank everybody. I'll just let me.
Please, can I just ask one question, please?
Okay, Rolai. Yes, please go on.
Yeah. Sorry, it's something that you already covered before, but I'd just like to clarify something. So, about assessment center and case study presentations and all for like that interview phase. So I'd like to confirm, is it like do they expect you to bring like your own maybe laptop along when you maybe if they've sent the case study ahead of time? Are you expected to come with your laptop with the prepared answers and slides and everything, then you present it, or you just you work on it, then you send it to them, then you'll be able to like show it on maybe a projector or something, then you'd present it to them. How does it work exactly?
Okay, so I have never done a physical case study presentation before. But the way it works, I think I did in one or two. For UBA, they sent it earlier and then you send it back to them. So on that day, you are expected to present your screen, to show your screen, to talk through what you've done. But if in any case you have physical, you should go with your system, really. You should go with your system. So even if they don't need your system, you don't have anything to lose. But if they need your system for you to send it to them, then you can have that. But again, this thing, they would give you instructions. They should be detailed because you wouldn't be the only one to make that mistake if you are not giving instructions. So please, I beg you, in this journey, don't stress yourself. Work with instructions as much as possible. Anything the instruction says, read the instructions again and again and again and again and again. The solution is always, how you should do it, the method, yes, is always in the instructions, right? So for you, you'd have sent it, you just present. For if it's physical, then they might tell you to bring your system where you did it because you might be the one presenting through their projector or something like that. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just stop recording. Are you sure you want to stop recording to the cloud?